You didn't come here to simply survive. You came here to thrive, to reconnect, and to remember who you truly are. Welcome to the Return to Her podcast, where we uncover the knowledge that empowers us and discover the wisdom that's always been inside. Here, we blend spiritual insights, modern psychology, and embodied wellness practices to help us realign all aspects of our being, body, mind, and soul. This is where science meets spirituality and true wellness becomes our way of life. I'm Cassie Dalton, yoga teacher, energy worker, holistic coach, and intuitive guide. While I'm still walking my own wellness and spiritual path, my mission now is to walk beside you as you return home to your most authentic and empowered self. Now is the time to return to her. The content shared in this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult a qualified professional for any personal health or wellness concerns. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello again. Thank you so much for coming back this week to Return to Her. I wanted to start by saying that my husband informed me last week that there was something weird with my audio quality, that maybe I didn't have settings adjusted on my microphone or something, and I couldn't figure out how to make it any better. So I went ahead and posted what I recorded because I thought that it was a great message, and I know that you guys are so graceful and so forgiving that it would be just fine if it wasn't perfect. I also want to say, probably from my own part, that I remember I was twirling a lot in my chair and looking out my door at the nature around me, just because this time of year makes me so giddy, like a little kid. So that's probably part of it. Today, I'm trying very hard to sit up nice and tall and keep my chair still and face the microphone the whole time. So I hope that that will be enough. Also, I will say that I have my crystal singing bowls in my little sacred, my little building that I do this work in. And I think that maybe they're picking up some of the vibration from my voice and echoing that. So that could be part of it as well. I also have my doors open again. So who knows? Who knows what the sound quality issue was, but hopefully this time it will be a little bit better. And if it's not, again, please, I'm asking for your grace and your understanding as I try to get all the technical aspects handled as we continue to learn and grow in this process. So, all that to say, thank you for being here and thank you for your support. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So today I wanted to share something that has changed the way that I move through my days. Before I do that, though, I thought it would be kind of sweet and really special to start today's episode with a pull from my Oracle card deck. Those of you that have done Reiki in person with me, and maybe even distance Reiki, depending on our sessions, you've had the opportunity to draw a card from one of my card decks, and most of you guys really draw something that hits spot on, whatever it was that we were talking about, or something that you needed to carry with you to continue to meditate on or reflect on. So I thought it would be kind of cool, kind of fun to start today's podcast episode with that, so that whoever is listening to this now and in the future might feel a sense of that energetic transmission and receive a message that I think was divinely orchestrated for you to hear. One of my favorite decks is called Daily Guidance from Your Angels, and I pulled one for all of us. So I'm going to read that and then just let the message hit. If it hits, if something resonates, take that with you. If it doesn't resonate, stick around because today's episode is still going to be really powerful, and I am going to give you an awesome way of shifting into your day. So here we are. Here is the card that I pulled. Joy. Joy is the highest energy of all. It is the magical sense that everything is possible. Joy springs from appreciating the gifts within each moment. Joy allows you to attract and create your present and future moments at their highest possible levels. I'm going to go into my book because I know there's always a little bit more. There might be something that somebody here needed to hear that's within the added description. So to continue on with that, you drew this card as a reminder that your power comes from staying centered in a feeling of joy. Ask your angels for guidance about any changes you can make to bring more joy into your life and the lives of others. If you're feeling trapped or victimized in any way, the angels can ease your burdens. A joyful outlook brings the freedom you desire, while your responsibilities are simultaneously met. Additional meanings for this card could be release or heal any parts of your life that are not joyful. The answer to your question involves choosing the route that brings you the most joy. Release fears while manifesting, and instead focus on feeling the joy as if your desire were already a reality. And that is actually really powerful. And I just put it together while I was reading that. A couple of days ago, I've been doing a lot of work in this space that I do the podcast in. I think I maybe mentioned it a couple of episodes ago that my husband, he's so talented in so many ways. And he was able to build me basically a little house. It's a shed. It sounds bad when I say a shed, but it's like this really beautiful on the inside, finished out she shed, for lack of better words. And this is where I have put my desk and a chair, a bookshelf that holds my beautiful crystal singing bowls and tuning forks, and some other good stuff that helps me feel really connected to spirit, to source. And while for the last couple of maybe for the last week or two, I've felt this really strong sense that I need to shift up the energy in here. So I have moved things around a little bit, reoriented things. I've taken out some old furniture that I felt like wasn't serving the space or my energetic intentions anymore. And I brought in some new stuff. And while I was doing this, I've just been really focusing on this area, making it really a place that I can come, and it holds my energy, it holds my heart, so that when I'm doing my sacred work here through this podcast and through client sessions, through intuitive channeling, whatever it is that I'm doing, this place, it just holds the energy that supports me. So I've been really focusing on cultivating that space in an intuitive way, not in a logical, analytical way, but creating this space in an intentional way. And yesterday, as I was sitting outside looking down into the woods, because this building that my husband built is mostly surrounded by nature. I was looking out and a flock of bluebirds just came out of nowhere and were jumping all around on the branches right in front of me. Like it was one of those things that felt like a divine moment of like, wow, there they are. Where'd you guys come from? And I was watching them, and I mean, they just made me stop everything I was doing. Actually, I think that I was going back up to the house to get something, and they caused me to just pause and sit down and watch. And as I was watching them, I just kept feeling the sense that this was some sort of a message for me. So after they flew away after a little while, I looked it up, and bluebirds are associated with joy and lightness and renewal, a sense of rebirth. If you want to think of them as, even messages from the divine, you could see them as messengers from the angels or from divine souls, however you perceive that. Again, just reminding you to do things with joy and ease and notice the magic that unfolds. And it's so funny now that I'm saying this, and I remember reading that that description of different possible meanings for seeing a flock of bluebirds out of nowhere. Now I'm reading this angel oracle card that's talking about how joy is the highest energy of all, and it's the magical sense that anything is possible, and things that we do in our life should tap into that sense of joy because that's really what carries the energy that uplifts and transforms everything around us. So I just think it's so fascinating that that was the card that I picked for us. So thank you for coming along on that little ride with me. Okay, so to get back into the actual content of the episode, as I said before, I wanted to share something that has really helped me change the way that I move through my days. I told you guys before that I am no stranger to chronic fatigue. It's something that has just been in my life for as long as I can remember. I think that it's associated with my hormonal imbalance. And I'm also learning that as a highly sensitive person, it's probably a response to overstimulation that I'm learning how to deal with. But one thing that has really helped me is how I start my day. So, have you ever noticed how those first moments of your morning really set the tone for everything else that happens that day? So, like if you wake up with the sense of rushed, chaotic energy, it can leave you feeling really off balance pretty much in everything that you do that day. While on the other hand, if you wake up in a slow, maybe you got to sleep in a little bit, or you weren't immediately flooded with all the thoughts of what you had to do that day, when you wake up in that way, everything throughout the rest of the day just seems to flow a little bit more smoothly. And obviously it's a no-brainer, but this realization, it changed things for me because I started to put a phrase together with the way that I actually want to wake up and show up in the world every day. And I call this waking up on purpose, being really intentional about those first moments of the morning, honoring both the science and the spirituality of this idea of waking up. Because I struggled with chronic fatigue, adrenal burnout, I had to become really mindful about how I started each and every day because, at least to me, it felt like I only had so much energy that I could expend through the day before it was done. And some days I started off with an emptier tank than others. And what I discovered was really powerful. The way that we wake up, it actually affects you on every level, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So today I wanted to invite you to explore what waking up on purpose could look like for you. And it's going to be really different from how I do it, but I wanted to plant that seed, that awareness, to see how it grows for you in your own life. To give yourself the gift of starting your day in a way that truly supports your body, mind, and soul, what could be better than that? So there is actually a lot of science behind why your first waking moments are so important. When we wake up really abruptly, think about that really loud alarm that just comes in out of nowhere and jars you. You jump out of bed, you instantly start scrolling your phone. When we do those kinds of things, we flood our system with cortisol and adrenaline. It actually kicks us into a fight-flight pattern before we've even had a chance to come all the way back to ourselves. But when we wake up slowly, when we're mindful about how we transition from that sleepy, dreamy, soulful state back into our human existence, we are allowing our body to transition more naturally, and that supports our nervous system instead of shocking it. And of course, there is a spiritual component to this, at least in my perspective. As we wake up, our thinking mind is still really quiet. As my teacher describes it, the mind is down. And that constant chatter of the monkey mind, it hasn't started up yet. our soul, that deep, infinite part of us, is awake and it's up higher than the mind. Again, this is how my teacher describes it. The mind is down and the soul is up. And this is such a sacred time to be able to connect with God, with Source, with our own divinity before the demands of the day pull us back out into the external world. In a lot of spiritual traditions, actually, this early morning time is considered to be a bridge between the worlds, a time when we are closest to our intuition, when inspiration can flow freely, when we have the greatest capacity to receive divine wisdom and divine downloads. And the more we protect and honor these first few moments of our day, the more aligned and the more centered we can remain throughout the rest of the day. So for me, waking up on purpose means that my morning starts really slow and intentional. I don't ever use the snooze button. Okay, so when I say that, I can hear my husband laughing right now, like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm gonna explain this, okay? So I don't use the snooze button, which I used to rely on several times in a row. It would be, wake up at 6 o'clock and hit the snooze, wake up at 6:05, hit the snooze, wake up at 6:15. And I would do that because I knew what time I actually had to get up. So I just kept snoozing until it got to that critical point where if I don't get up right now and rush and take my shower and get ready, I'm going to be late. So then I hit the snooze up to that point and started to rush and just like fly through the house like a Tasmanian devil and then run out the door. And at that point, I have already expended a whole bunch of energy because the cortisol and the adrenaline that got rushing through me just to give me that kickstart to get out the door on time is now wreaking havoc through the rest of my system. So that used to be how I would do it. Instead, now I set 2 alarms. One is my gentle wake-up call, and thankfully, because my husband is so amazing, he normally brings me a cup of coffee and it's sitting there waiting on me. Please don't get jealous. Don't get mad. But that first alarm kind of wakes me up and lets me know, okay, we're no longer in that sleeping state. And then I have a second alarm that's 30 minutes later. And that's the one that tells me, okay, it's time to start moving mindfully into our morning routine so that we can get ready for, help the kids get ready for school and get ready for work and all of those things. And when I say this, I don't mean like I'd used to before when I would wait until that critical moment where if I don't start moving now, I'm not going to make it. No, that second alarm is the one that tells me, well, let's go ahead and get up and ease into the rest of the morning. And I don't rush it. And in that in-between time, I don't rush. I don't jump into planning mode or thinking about what I'm going to do that day. Instead, I just give myself permission to be in that magical in-between space. I just enjoy that because I can feel my soul is still up. I can get in touch with that. And my thinking mind, as long as I haven't gone into the planning mode or the preoccupation with my to-do list, then that thinking mind is still pretty quiet. And of course, this does require some intention the night before. So I do have to be aware. If I've got something scheduled earlier than normal, I have to work backwards. So I calculate what time do I need to actually get up and moving while still being able to honor that slow morning practice where I can just kind of linger in the magic for about 30 minutes. Because for me, that is a good time. Maybe if you try this, 30 minutes is too much for you. But for me, I want to give myself at least 30 minutes to sip my coffee and just be in that place. So I make sure that I know if I have to adjust my alarm clocks, I get that straightened out first. And then I also make sure that I've laid my clothes out, set anything out that I'll need for the next day near the door, or go ahead and put it in the car. And this, for me, has been really helpful to prevent decision fatigue first thing in the morning. Because like I said before, when you're dealing with a state of chronic fatigue or adrenal burnout, every little energy expenditure adds up. And you don't have that much in the tank to start with. At least that's how it feels. So when I do it like this, I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to waste any energy on something that's not really even that important. Those wasted energy expenditures accumulate throughout the day, especially if you're already managing low energy. And one thing I absolutely don't do is reach for my phone. I don't check messages, emails, social media. I don't do any of that in that first 30-minute window because I don't want my energy to be hijacked before I've even started my day. Instead, I stay in that stillness, just sipping on my coffee and let myself luxuriate in the peace of the morning. And I also don't talk to anyone or make eye contact in those early moments. That might sound really extreme, but it's actually an important teaching in many spiritual traditions, including the one that I'm in. The idea is that your energy when you're just waking up is still very inwardly focused, still connected to your soul's essence. Remember, I said a few minutes ago, my teacher says the soul is up. And the moment that you engage with someone else through words and even through a glance, you start exchanging energy. Your attention shifts from that inward soul focused to the outward, the external. And that deep sacred connection to yourself starts to dissipate really, really quickly. So keeping your energy to yourself for those first few moments, however long you decide is good for you, it preserves that connection with yourself and it allows you to anchor into your own soul essence before interacting with the external world. And during this time, for me at least, I am thinking about my connection with the divine. I'm thinking about my beautiful teacher. I'm thinking about whatever divine source comes to mind. Maybe it's Mother Mary or Jesus or Shirdi Sai Baba, whoever it happens to be that's coming into my awareness, I am connecting with that essence. Sometimes I'll even silently recite the Guru mantra and the Gayatri mantra, letting those words fill my energy field. Other times I'm simply breathing and feeling gratitude for the fact that I woke up one more day and God clearly has purpose for me here today. As I said a moment ago, I'm really fortunate. My husband, he wakes up well before me and he knows what time I'm going to get up, what time that first alarm is going to ring, because normally I'll remind him in the evening. Like, hey, make sure that you bring me my coffee by this time, please. And he's so sweet. He does that for me. So he brings me my coffee and then my alarm goes off. I can just quickly quiet it and hold my coffee and sip on it until my second alarm goes off. But not everybody has that luxury, I understand. If you are looking for other ways that you could wake up more gently rather than from that really loud alarm clock that gets your cortisol and your adrenaline pumping, there are some options you can think about. Some people find success with silent alarms that gradually increase the light in the room, and that simulates the sunrise. I've actually looked into this. They're pretty expensive. That's the reason we don't have one yet. But my husband and I have been talking about it lately because even though I do wake up nice and slowly with my morning coffee, he still has that really obnoxious alarm clock that goes off right beside his ear and jolts him into the day. And perhaps maybe a sunlight simulating alarm clock, one of these silent alarm clocks, could be really neat for us to experiment with. So if that happens, I'll let you know. But other people choose just alarm tones that are a little bit more soft and melodic, or maybe they just gradually increase in the volume rather than that jarring and abrasive, that I don't have to explain it. Even just thinking about the sound of it is starting to make me feel stressed. So I don't want to do that to you. Basically, the idea here is just to wake up without that cortisol spike, allowing your body to transition in a way that feels nourishing rather than stressful. And here's another practice that comes from the tradition I follow, talking again about the energy of the eyes specifically and connecting with your soul energy. Before you make eye contact with anyone or before even speaking with anyone, you look into the mirror for a couple of minutes, simply looking at your own eyes. This is really powerful because in those early moments, like I said, the soul's energy is still so strong and the mind is so quiet that when you look into your own eyes with that presence, you are receiving an energy transmission from your own soul. You're not just seeing yourself, your physical body and face. You are acknowledging that soul deep self that lives within you. You are deepening that relationship with your soul. This can be done in the bathroom mirror, or like I use a small hand mirror, just stays on my bedside or tucked into a drawer. But I would recommend, if you're going to try this, to do it for a few minutes, but please don't turn on any bright lights or get up right away to go do this. Still try to linger in the softness and the darkness for a few moments after waking. And then just remember, don't look or talk with anybody. I'll even have to avoid eye contact with my dog. And when you're going to the bathroom to do this, if you can just keep the light really low, maybe a little night light or a soft lamp that you have on, rather than those really bright overhead lights, I think that that's even better because harsh light, it stimulates the nervous system and it brings you out of that gentle soul connected state really quickly, just like that abrupt alarm clock does. A bright light will do the same thing. So instead, allow yourself to ease into the wakefulness with that really soft and intentional presence. And you might choose an affirmation to use during this practice, something really simple and easy to remember. One that my yoga teacher gave me several years ago that really empowered me is God and I are one. Another one might be God is always with me, or my soul and I are aligned, or any affirmation that maybe a teacher has given you or one that you found that really speaks to you and helps you feel connected to yourself. Students that are in the tradition that I follow, we all have a personal mantra that we received from our teacher. So if you have something like that, use that, just silently affirm it or repeat it to yourself while you're staring lovingly into your own eyes and just see what happens. And if that doesn't feel right for you right now, just tuck that one away. Maybe come back to it later. Who knows? Maybe you'll be ready for it at another time. But one more thing that you can do as far as waking up on purpose is bringing intentionality into how you want to show up in the world today. So when I first had this idea of waking up on purpose, it actually meant two things to me. The first one was waking up with the goal of keeping my nervous system calm so that I could prioritize my connection with my soul, my connection with my source, before jumping into all of the human to-dos. But the other thing that it meant to me, waking up on purpose, was reminding myself of why I'm here and how I want to move through the world. One way that you can start to wake up on purpose in this way, just waking back up to yourself, your soul purpose in the world, is by crafting a simple personal mission statement for the day. And it doesn't have to be long or complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the better. It should be something that you can recite really easily, even while you're still in that dreamy early morning state. So you might start with gratitude, just a simple thank you to the divine, which in itself shifts your energy in a really profound way. Then you might add something like, please guide me, use me as an instrument for your divine purpose. allow me to uplift and inspire anyone I come into contact with today? Those are two examples of mission statements that I use every day. And if you want to really get into this, you can do a little journaling exercise to craft your personal mission statement. Take a moment after this episode and journal about it while the intention is still fresh in your mind. Ask yourself questions like, what kind of energy do I want to bring into my day? How do I want to feel as I move through the world? What qualities do I want to embody? What is one sentence that captures my deeper purpose? And you can write your statement down, maybe place it somewhere visible, like on a sticky note by your bed or on the mirror where you're going to go and do the mirror practice if you choose, so that you see it every morning and it becomes second nature to recite this mantra, this personal mission statement to yourself. So waking up on purpose, it really has been, for me, one of the most sacred gifts that I've given myself. And it can be something that is a really special gift that you give to yourself, your family, and the world. It's about really choosing presence over urgency, connection over distraction, and aligning with your soul before the world has a chance to pull you away from it. If this episode speaks to you, I encourage you to start small. Trust me, I know that life is busy, especially if you're a mother with babies and young children, or if you're navigating a partner's different schedule. You might not be able to incorporate all of the things that I mentioned in today's episode right now, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe just take one little element, the idea of waking up just a little bit slower, practicing a moment of gratitude, maybe looking at yourself in the mirror, even just for a moment, making eye contact with yourself and sending a little love to yourself. Or, like I said, crafting a personal mission statement that becomes like second nature to recite the moment that you wake up. And choose one of these things and integrate it into your morning routine, whatever that looks like right now. See how it feels to allow yourself to be in that space where your soul is awake, your mind is down, the world hasn't yet claimed your attention. And the key to success with any habit change is to find a way to weave it into the life that you already have. So bringing just a little bit more intentionality and purpose into your mornings, whatever they look like right now, whatever stage of life you're in. And know that there will be days when you have the best of intentions and you're not able to follow through. That's okay. That happens to me too. Instead of creating stories around it and feeling frustrated, try giving yourself grace. Every stage of life presents different opportunities and challenges, and the goal is never to be perfect with any of these things. It's really just about finding what fits right now and doing it as consistently as your life allows, adjusting when needed and not being afraid to adjust. So start with just one thing and build from there. Modify it to fit your life, and most importantly, let it be something that feels really nourishing, really aligned with you, not just something that adds another to-do on your checklist. And if you try any of these techniques, I would love to hear how it goes for you. So reach out, share your experiences, and let's continue this journey of returning home to ourselves, to our purpose, to her. And thanks again for being here with me today. If you found this episode helpful, I would really love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear this message today, and leave a review on whatever platform you're listening so that more people can find this podcast. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and remember, you are already whole and you already have everything you need within you. We just need to keep coming back home. If today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe to the mailing list and the show notes so that you never miss an update. If you're finding value in this content and feel called to support the show with a small monthly donation, please click the link in the show notes. Your contribution will help offset the time, energy, and costs of producing this show, which will be a win-win for everyone. And if you're ready to dive deeper into this healing work with me, head on over to wholbeingjourney.com to explore ways that we can work together. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you all next week when we return to her.